Hi there, this is Dr. John, your physics and math professor, coming to you with an introduction to trig functions. These videos that we have in this section here will hopefully introduce you to some of the basics of trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent, as well as some of the other functions. If you know nothing about those, these videos will really help you a lot. If you know a lot about it, I think these videos will still fill in a number of gaps that maybe you have in your understanding. So we're going to start off by just basically mentioning and honoring the Greeks and the ancient Greek culture, because they did a lot of study in geometry, and a lot of trigonometry is brought to us by stuff that they invented. Hence, we use their alphabet in a lot of mathematics and a lot of science as well. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, theta, pi, omega. We use those and other letters as well. So when you see those letters, just be reminded that the Greeks invented a lot of this stuff. And here we have a number of Greek scholars in the range of 300, 400 BC or so. There's Aristotle, who was really into logic. If one thing is true, something else should come out of that. And Archimedes, who was really into fluid dynamics and the buoyant force. He was also one of the first to calculate a really good value for the value of pi. There's Hippocrates, who is considered by many to be the father of modern medicine. Many doctors today even continue to do a vow, do no harm, when they graduate from medical school. Socrates was one of the ancient teachers who really emphasized the asking of questions. His idea was there is no stupid question. And then there's Pythagoras, who was really into triangles. Actually, the Greek as a culture were into triangles, especially right-angled triangles, because they believed the heavens, the place where the divine beings lived, could be calculated and understood by the study of circles and right-angled triangles. So they were really into that. They found out a lot of things about triangles. Like, for example, that all the angles inside a triangle, if you add them all up, they add up to 180. It doesn't matter what the shape of the triangle is. It could be a right-angled triangle, could be a different kind. If you wonder about all the different types of triangles, check out my website, physicsdoctor.com. I have a sheet there for you to download for free that gives you all the different types of triangles as well. But today we're going to focus especially on right-angled triangles. And over here, we're going to take a look. I drew up a little right-angled triangle for you. And Pythagoras noticed something really interesting. He took this triangle where the sides are A, B, and C. Those are the lengths of the sides, C being the longest length, the side opposite this 90-degree angle here. It's called the hypotenuse. I'll mention that a little bit more in a second. So what he did is he said, well, let's take a look at this, and I'm going to make something square here that has this as a side. So if this side is A, this side is also A. And then he marked this off, and he marked this off by square meters or square cubits from the elbow to the fingers. However, he found out how many square cubits there were in here, which would be A squared. And then he added that to here, this side, how many square cubits were in this. And then compared that to here, and he found no matter how big he made the triangle, whether he made it long like this, or whether he made it very nicely shaped like this, no matter what shape he made that triangle, as long as it was a right angle triangle, this side plus this side, the areas of those, or the square of those, would always be equal to this side squared, which is the hypotenuse squared. Now, some of you may be into a little bit of Greek. You'll understand that this word here, hypo, H-Y-P-O, is actually used in a number of other words. Like, for example, when you think of hypodermis, that means under the skin. Or if you think of hypothermia, that means below the thermal temperature. Your body starts dropping too low a temperature, you get hypothermia. So this might sound like the word you would use for a shorter leg because it's under. But really what you need to think about is this hypotenuse is stretched under the influence of these two legs, much like this bow here is stretched under the influence of this string when it shoots the arrow. So the bow is stretched under the influence of the string, so the hypotenuse is stretched under the influence of the two legs, making it a right angle triangle and the longest side. So I hope that helped. I hope that gave you a little bit of insights. This thing here, the Pythagoras Theorem is what we call it, which is that A squared plus B squared equals C squared for any right angle triangle, where A and B are the shorter sides. It doesn't matter which one you call A and which one you call B, but it's essential that you call the longest side the hypotenuse C. I hope that helped. Squared. I hope that helped. If it did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.